Hello and welcome to episode 1292 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, May 3rd. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this morning by Justin Mason. Justin, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
Not too bad. We're on the opposite ends here, though, where I'm the tired one and you got some sleep last night. Now, granted, you're still the one getting up at 6, so, I know it's a tougher lift for you, but I went to the movies yesterday, watched Challengers, got home a little late, got kind of that late start, late to bed. But hey, I'm ready to talk two-star pitchers. How's your week going? Fantasy going all right for you? Any bad moves? Any good moves that you pulled on Sunday?
It was a pretty quiet Sunday for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Same.
um, I grabbed like a couple like just cheaper guys. I didn't really go crazy for anybody in particular. I'm really kind of being smart about my fab so far this year. Kind of waiting to seeing how my team kind of shapes up and what my team needs are, as opposed to like, oh, this guy's a big guy, I should go get him right now. So I'm doing the Scott Genstead approach, right? The like kind of spray and pray a little bit, you
Yep.
know, use my fab a little bit more wisely and hope that some of my like, $15-20 buys, pop off. So
A
yeah, I
lot of
mean,
times those are key.
yeah, and I think often we end up, like I spent $300 on Ellie last year,
Yeah.
or not Ellie, on
Yuri Perez.
Yuri Perez, and it was a great pickup. I needed that pickup, but at the same time, it also hamstrung me at the end of the season, where like I did not have the money to make other pickups that I also needed. So I'm
Yep.
trying to be a little bit smarter and kind of waiting for at least if I know I have a deficiency somewhere, like I got a couple leagues where speed is a deficiency, like I may pop off on someone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but right now, I'm trying to play it a little bit safe and not go crazy. I think people tend to uh, be a little aggressive, partially because they get players for the length of the season if they pop off,
True.
but also just because people like being aggressive, and it's all like, I want to win this, I want to win a
I
guy,
gotta go
like
get the guy.
I
Yeah,
gotta
because there's
spend I got
excitement.
all this money,
Yep.
and then in August they're like, oh no, I have $17 to make it through the next 6 weeks.
Last 4 weeks I haven't done anything over 50 for an individual player. So, um, also been just kind of sitting back a little bit, not trying to get too crazy, because you have to have some down weeks, especially if you're going to be in on some of the higher end guys there. Oh man, you'd be nice and you'd be excited to be in one of my leagues where Jacob Young is available, 12 steals. But only he's 98% rostered, so I got to be one of maybe 2 leagues that he's even available in, running wild for the Nats right now. But yeah, I've also been playing it chill, not going too crazy. I'm not gonna force it, right? Like there's maybe there is like a top guy each week, but the top guy doesn't always deserve the same bid. So one week's top guy might be a $32 guy, and then another week's top guy might be $300. So it can vary. I've been trying to play it chill as well. But let's talk some two-star guys. We got a pretty decent group here. Few guys that are on the list specifically to check in on them. Not so much because I wouldn't start them or really think you need to make that decision, but I want to just see where you're at with them. And this first guy might be one of those, but I am kind of curious where you're at on our boy Frankie Montas out there in Cincinnati. He's going to have Arizona and at San Francisco coming off the IL. So that's another thing to consider is that he's coming off the IL. Had been pitching up and down. Like the 4.19 ERA, you're not too upset about. 145 whip, definitely upset about. 5% strikeout minus walk, definitely upset about. It was really a couple duds before he ended up going out. Milwaukee and Seattle really clobbered him after 2 great starts. So 2 up, 2 down, and then the 1 2/3 of an inning where he left early because he got hit by a comebacker. So that's kind of where we're at on Frankie Montas. Are you starting him off the IL, Arizona at San Francisco?
Probably not. I don't love starting guys straight off the IL unless they're a stud.
Yeah,
Um,
true
and
studs.
and I've seen them throw a lot of innings, or or at least a bulk innings in the minors and the rehab assignments. So Montas is not a stud. He pitches in Cincinnati. which is just a scary place to pitch.
Yep.
And that is the easier start of the two. The harder start is at Arizona. Wait, no, sorry,
Home to Arizona.
home
So
to Arizona.
Arizona.
So, I I I might be willing if it's like a daily lineups league to like do the San Francisco one. I don't want to do the Arizona one in Cincinnati. Like
I totally agree. We haven't seen enough from Montas.
no,
Let him come off the IL here, take the 2-step on the bench, see what's what. Hopefully, it breeds some confidence for beyond.
yeah.
And then you can start to feel like, okay, now I can trust him again. Because those first 2 starts, like, hey, let's go. And
Problem is he's still throwing 93. Like
yeah,
it's like in the I know it's not a forearm issue like we usually worry about forearm issues. It was from the comebacker and stuff.
yeah.
But like the fact that he is not gotten the velocity even back to like 95, 94, like that is very concerning for me that he just isn't the same guy anymore.
I've also got some bad news on Montas.
Yeah.
He lines up for the Dodgers the following week.
Yeah. So
So
I
you're
think
not
just leave
using
him
him
on the
here.
wire.
Yeah, like leave him on the wire if that's where he is. And yeah, I'm nervous here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm doing this, and I might even cut this weekend. Like if you held through and this is deep league only, 12s and 10s, you were off the Montas train hopefully a while ago.
Yeah.
But if in a 15, if you kind of held through and thought, maybe there's something here with Montas, I would cut right now because you don't want him for the next 3 starts, and you might as well utilize that roster spot on somebody else. So that's where I'm at with him. Let's go to Cleveland. And they got a pair of guys going, and they're both difficult to decide. However, the matchup gods are smiling with a really hot Detroit at White Sox 2-step. Detroit's been playing well, but it's not the offense, right? Every once in a while they'll spike a decent day, but that offense is one to be picked upon. And then of course the White Sox is the best start you can get right now. Let's start with McKenzie first. He's been kind of up and down since we learned about the UCL tear. Obviously, that scares a bunch of people. Has he been doing enough for a Detroit White Sox for you?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I think anytime you use McKenzie from here until he gets Tommy John surgery is gonna be stressful. But like you said, like the bad numbers and the really bad underlying numbers, FIP and XFIP are like over 5. Like those were really from the first few starts of the season. Like since then, he's actually been pretty good.
It's great last time out. McKenzie was awesome in Houston.
Yeah, like went 7 innings, struck out 6. Like, so I think you have to just kind of roll with them and close your eyes and pray. Like these are too good of matchups to kind of pass up.
Yep.
And so, but like, yeah, like if the 2-start episode, we really focus in on the short term. In the short term, yeah, I'm rolling with him. Long term, I am scared. Like I am just
agreed.
I'm absolutely petrified.
That's exactly where I'm at with McKenzie. I think if you've got him, you got to go for this. I think this is pick upable too in the shallower formats
absolutely.
To take the shot. Like eyes wide open, there is risk because if his arm is off, then McKenzie can get beat up even by these teams. But he's looking good lately.
After 2/3 of an inning.
You might end up getting 3 combined innings.
Yeah.
But if you look at these last 3 starts, excellent at Houston, decent at versus Boston. Only 2 runs in 4 innings. It was the 4 innings that was kind of a bummer, and then 5 innings, 1 run against Oakland. So you got 3 gems. You got 2 great matchups. Triston McKenzie, we're starting him, but I agree with you. It's a week-to-week situation with him.
Yeah.
What about Logan Allen? Things have not been going quite as well there. 5.11 ERA. The recent starts have been blah. Every start's just kind of blah. It's 4 or 5 innings, and then 3 to 5 runs. And so there you go. 5.11 ERA, 141 WHIP. Is this enough for you to jump on the Logan Allen train too?
He's just never shown the strikeout stuff that he showed in the minor leagues. Like he just never has. Like he allows too much contact in the zone. He can't get guys to chase out of it. That being said, like again, these are really great matchups. So like in a deeper league, I'm probably rolling with him
because you can get there in a 12. with Logan Allen?
Maybe a deeper 12.
It's streamable, right? Like
Yeah.
it's streamable.
He might be on the wire in a 12. He probably
That's what I'm
should be on the
saying.
wire in a 12. So, like, if I'm looking at the rest of my matchups on my team that I have and I go, oh, I don't like this one, or, hey, this is, a mediocre one start versus Logan Allen's 2 good starts, I might lean that way. But I think there's a lot of risk here. He has gotten unlucky. The xERA is 4.38, but it's not like 4.38 is great, especially at 12.
True.
So, like, being like, oh, look, he's unlucky, 5.11 ERA, a 4.38 xERA, like that doesn't make him good.
It's to like a minor degree that Logan Allen can get a little bit better. But these are the kind of teams that he can get better against. So I think, if you're streaming, this is what you're looking for, the ultimate Detroit and at the White Sox with a moderately talented arm that has some upside. I think you go for this. There's a reason he's available, though, right? There is risk. I just want to stress that there is definitely
his
some
worst
risk
run
here.
of the season was against the White Sox. So, like that's
scary.
like that. It is scary, but like, yeah, in a 15, I don't know how you're getting away from it just because the matchups are so good. In
Agreed.
a 12, it's a maybe. I tend to lean towards no, but it is a maybe.
Yeah, always depends who's available. I can get there in a 12, mostly just 15 for me with Logan Allen. All right, Justin Verlander is the one I wanted to check in on, right? Because obviously deep leagues, you got him, you're starting him. I think that's probably the case for 12s as well. But I want to talk more in the 10-12 realm because Justin Verlander is not fully himself. He's got a 2.8 ERA or 2.08, excuse me, 2.08 and a 115 whip, but a 435 FIP, right? So letting you know that the skills are just not what Justin Verlander usually delivers. His strikeout rate is down here at 19% with a 10% walk rate. So that's what I mean. Like the results are there. You're starting him in deep leagues pretty easily because, he's still Justin Verlander. But through these 3 starts, he's been maybe getting better results than he deserves. He gets a trip to the Yankees and the Tigers. So 1 up, 1 down. Where you at with Justin Verlander in shallow leagues? The name value says start all the time, but the stats say maybe not. Are you comfortable with Verlander in shallower formats?
I am. There's not much in the profile from the last few years. Obviously, we don't want to look at peak Verlander numbers, but if you're just looking from the last 2 years or prior to this one, there's not a ton in the numbers that go he's not kind of the same guy. He's just a guy who knows how to pitch, and I think that
Definitely.
I just think yes, the skills have obviously degraded. He's not the player he used to be. That doesn't mean he's not good still. I mean, Kyle Hendricks never really had great skills, or at least flashy skills. And he was a top 25 pitcher for a number of years. So, I think Verlander is just kind of in his Kyle Hendricks era, which means at some point it may fall apart. But, I have zero real concerns about Verlander until we start to see him not be able to command things or not being able to control things. And yeah, I mean, right now he has been able to kind of do that for the most part. The control hasn't been as great, but it's not out of this world bad or anything like that. And strikeouts are down, but he still gets strikeouts. And I don't.
It's still Justin Verlander. I like the way you framed it, like he's in his Kyle Hendricks era, where he is more finesse, kind of living on the wire. There'll be an occasional bad start, but I think you got to ride with it. It might be at the Yankees here, but hopefully he would then rebound against his old guys in Detroit. So yeah, I think you're still riding with him. I just want to check in because the name value is there, but there is that disconnect between the ERA and the ERA indicators.
I hate.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I hate when people use name value to be yeah, you got to start him. It's name value and stuff like that. But Justin Verlander is and always has been just this unicorn that
exactly. You don't want to do it blindly if a guy is clearly failing in front of you, but even the lesser Verlander version here is still performing. Is your point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I'm with you there. Don't just always ride name value, but in this case, the unicorn Verlander going to treat you pretty well, even in the shallower formats. Seth Lugo, because he's not missing bats, and so maybe there's a little trepidation there. I think still belongs on a list like this for shallow leagues. Again, in deep leagues, of course you got to. He's got a 160 ERA and a 102 WHIP, but he does have a 432 Sierra and a 343 FIP. So a couple ERA indicators are quite a bit higher than that 160 ERA. Is it as simple as he's riding hot, Seth Lugo, with this brilliant ERA and WHIP? You got to start him, or do you have a little bit more concern in the shallower formats? He gets Milwaukee and at the Angels. Seth Lugo, where you at?
I'm not concerned. I'm actually really intrigued by Seth Lugo, especially if you start to look at what he's done over his last 2 starts. He's gone 7 innings in both of them. He's had 8 and 9 strikeouts respectively.
Yep.
He's still not walking guys. The zone contact is down. I mean, it's still higher than you necessarily want from a guy who can get strikeouts. So I don't think regularly going to see 8 or 9 strikeouts in outings, but he is a old school innings eater kind of dude that can just plow through innings, gets out of jams, is good park to pitch in, great division to pitch in. These matchups don't scare me. You were talking about a Troutless Angels team, and Milwaukee is a good team, but
are they still Yelich-less? Has he come back?
I think they are. I don't believe
I'm looking real quick. Yelich is still on the IL. Yeah, strained lower back. So a Yelich-less, and they're pretty good without him still. I'm not saying that they don't bring anything, but a Troutless Angels is really nice.
These aren't matchups I'm running away from. Nope. I think Lugo is a full go. When I write up my 2-start article today, he will probably be either in the should start or the must start tier.
Yeah, I'm with that. Again, sparkling numbers. Just want to check under the hood, make sure you're still good with Seth Lugo in those shallower formats. A couple of Angels, Tyler Anderson going to Pitt and hosting Kansas City. Tyler Anderson, is he a thing again? Where are we at?
I didn't do a bold predictions article. I really, really wanted to because I was there were certain bold predictions where I had in my head. Or I talked about on a podcast that I'm I need this on paper. I
want this locked in.
Yeah, because I know somewhere and I have no idea where it was, but I made a bold prediction on a podcast. It might have been Potapalooza that Tyler Anderson would be a top 50 starter. And my whole rationale was, listen, I don't think he forgot how to pitch. And I don't think he's ever going to be a top 20 guy again, but he can't be this bad, right? And so I wish I had drafted him more. I did pick him up in a number of leagues. It's hard to completely buy in on this, but Tyler Anderson's also one of those guys because the ERA is 2.23, the xERA is 4.72.
Yeah.
So he's clearly gotten extremely lucky, and I don't expect him to have a sub-3 ERA the rest of the way. But Tyler Anderson's always a guy, as the Welsh and Bogman would say, beat his FIP. He's always a guy that kind of beats the underlying numbers because he's not relying on blowing people away with overpowering them. He's another one of these kind of finesse guys. Right now, it's working fairly well. I do think that is a high wire act that he's probably going to fall off on, but I'm probably using him I'm definitely using him in 15s this week. I think I'm using him in a fair amount of 12s. If I had the decision between Logan Allen and Tyler Anderson, I'm probably going Tyler Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm getting there too with Anderson. Man, Allen versus Anderson, the matchups versus the better performer.
Yeah. I mean,
the back and forth.
I think the math says you should go Logan Allen, but because you should attack the matchups.
Yeah.
But
I kind of like both. Obviously, you don't always have the option to start both, so I'm not just trying to cop out there. If I have to go with one, I think I do lean Allen. Because 91% left on base rate, 194 BABIP for Anderson is, like you said, a high wire act. But I think they're both considerable, even as low as 10s. They're streamable options this week. Both of them are. Let's bring in Patrick Sandoval then too. He gets the at Pittsburgh home to KC. Is he doing anything that brings you on board for this two-step?
Oh man, Patrick Sandoval is just a perpetual tease.
He
Like
really is. 10Ks last time out. Like, hey guys, come back in. Perfect time for a two-start, right?
yeah, exactly. Like just trying to drag you in, and the underlying numbers are like the opposite of Tyler Anderson, which
Yep.
is like he's got this massive ERA, even more massive WHIP, but the underlying numbers are like, hey, 382 xERA, a 317 FIP, like a Sierra 383. Like he should be much better, right?
Yep. He's like you said, he is the exact inverse of Anderson, who's got the great numbers but the bad indicators. Sandoval has the strong indicators with the bad surface stats.
The problem is he allows so much contact. Like he
I
just,
know. And both
um,
these teams, Pittsburgh has kind of come back down a bit
mhm.
while KC is still playing well. But both these teams are, don't just go off the name value. Even Pittsburgh in their lesser state is still better than normal Pittsburgh. And then KC, of course, is just good right now, 19 and 13, a team you don't want to necessarily attack. I love Sandoval, but I'm
I'm scared
nervous
of
here.
this. The
Yeah, I don't think I'm
169
getting there.
whip, the 169 whip is super concerning for me. Like I just have a really hard time blowing up my whip. Like he may not blow up your array, but he is most definitely gonna blow up your whip. Like
He could do
it,
that even in a good game. Just the way
yeah.
Sandoval pitches, yeah, give you that like 160 whip, still only give up 2 runs or something. So yeah, you have to be mindful of that. Um, that is that's tough. I
I'm probably
think
not starting Ivier. Not against these teams. Like
I
I
can
think
get there
I'm
in
thinking
15s for Sandy,
yeah, in
not anything
15s you
else.
may not have another choice, but in a 10 or a 12, I don't think there's any way I get there.
Yep, that's where I'm at with Patrick Sandoval. Walker Buehler coming off the IL. Miami and at San Diego. Is he studly enough that it's just automatically in with Walker Buehler, or do you want to see a little something?
I think the combination of just his own studliness, the combination of the Dodgers' overall studliness, and then you add in the fact that you get uh, a Miami start. I think like you probably are rolling him out there. Like he scares the crap out of me. Like I did not draft him anywhere. The only place I got him is in a keeper league, where I'll probably be looking to trade him at some point to further rebuild. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't think there's any universe in which you're leaving Walker Buehler on your bench in any format here.
I think I agree. Um, Even if I got to try to steal a win or two with some crappy ratios, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, the awesomeness of the
You
Dodgers
could
is
give
kind
up
of enough.
7 and still get, still get a dub. Like, I mean,
Yep.
like,
The Dodgers
I just,
goodness is pretty much enough for me to dive in. So I am gonna go with Bueller right off the IL, even though
you're gonna get strikeouts and like, you're gonna get wins. So, like, I don't know what
you
the
should get
ERA
at
is.
least one. You should get at
Yeah.
least the Miami win, and then San Diego we'll see. And then as good as Bueller can be, it's very much in the cards to have just 2 great starts and 2 wins.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm putting him in. He's too good of a player. If I sat this long, especially if we're talking NFBC universe, where I've been holding him, I'm not saying this is the best thought process, but I'm kind of like, he owes me. I've been riding this spot for a few weeks now. I'm gonna put him in right away. So yep, I'm going for it, and we'll see how it goes with Walker Buehler. What about Braxton Garrett, also coming off the IL? I believe he's facing Bueller. He's definitely facing the Dodgers. Yeah, he is facing Bueller, so they're going to go head to head. So he gets the
I,
opposite situation. What do you think
I,
about Garrett?
I love Braxton Garrett.
I know you
And
do.
there was a league because he was supposed to come back this week, and so there was a league
Hmm.
where I put him in my lineup, like, hey, look, and then like I was like, oh no,
He gets
uh,
Dodgers, Philly too. He gets
there's
two
no
tough
way I'm
starts.
starting. Like I said earlier on, we were talking about Montas. Like, I do not love starting guys coming off the IL, especially if they're not like studs. And while I do think Braxton Garrett may be a stud at some point, he's definitely not a stud yet. And at the Dodgers, then versus Philly, like, are not starts that I want to put most of my pitchers in.
Exactly.
So,
That
like,
yeah, that's the thing.
come,
Healthy regular guys, I'm
yeah,
tepid about this, let alone someone off the IL.
yeah. I would question this with like a guy just outside the top 30. Braxton Garrett's not even close to the top 30 at this moment.
Yep. Totally agree. Don't want this. I want Braxton Garrett. I would even roster him. Like if he's available, I would roster and reserve.
Yeah.
Skip the 2-step, see how it goes, and then revisit the following week with him. What about Bryse Wilson? Goes to Kansas City and hosts St. Louis. Both he and Colin Rea do that. Is Bryse Wilson doing anything for you? To be honest, I don't really know his numbers, so I put him on the list. Wasn't sure
His
if he's even
numbers
good
aren't
enough.
bad.
Okay.
So far he has a 3 flat ERA, a 1 flat WHIP.
Okay.
Not striking out a ton of guys, but it's not like 17% strikeout rate. It's 23%. The problem is he gives up lots of home runs, and those home runs tend to be a problem. He's got a 217 BABIP, the xFIP is. All right, let's not do the xFIP because we don't want to neutralize the home runs because that's his problem. Using the FIP, he's got a 455 FIP. So I see this going poorly. Even though like St. Louis isn't a bad matchup at this point in the season, I think in 15s you probably roll with it. But Kansas City scares me, and St. Louis, like, there's part of me it's like at some point they figure out that they're supposed to be good. Like I think,
let's hope.
right? Like,
yeah, I think we'll get there with that.
I don't know if the team just all aged together, but like. I don't know what the hell is going on in St. Louis. But that being said, I don't think Bryse Wilson is a strong enough pitcher, just generally speaking, to maintain what he's been doing. I think this is a good little regression week. So I'm probably doing my best to avoid Bryse Wilson.
Okay, I think that makes some sense. Like you said, he has been doing some things that are positive, but probably not enough to necessarily get there.
It's like an 8% swinging strike rate. Like it's, yeah, people just haven't squared him up yet. I think they will.
Yeah. No, I think that's totally fair. What about Colin Rea? Is he doing anything better that you feel more confident in with him, or is it also a sit with him, Kansas City, home to St. Louis for Colin Rea?
Man, Colin Rea was I watched his last start and I was actually really impressed by him.
He's also got positive results right now too.
Yeah.
Even lower ERA, what, 267?
Yeah, 267 ERA, a 122 WHIP. Those don't quite jive together, but the 122 WHIP and the 574 xERA don't jive together either.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think there's regression coming. Like he just can't be this good. He gives up, a fair amount of zone contact, and he's in the zone a fair amount as well. He does not really get swings and misses, generally speaking, but people don't go outside the zone on him. I think there's gonna be some regression, maybe not to the 574 level, but not to the level that you want to really roll with, especially with a Kansas City start. I think, again, this is like in a 15, you're probably rolling with him because there aren't very many other options. But
yeah,
I'm probably not using Colin Rea in a 12.
I think I'm just going to find other players. I mean, guys that we've already talked about, like Logan Allen, if he's available. Probably either Angel. Yeah, even I think I'd rather Sandoval than Rea. I think he has more upside. More downside, too.
I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for the upside, I think Sandoval is the guy. If you're looking for a little bit safer floor, especially in the whip department, then Rea is probably the guy. Or if you're win seeking, like Milwaukee's playing really well.
They're good. They've been good. Yeah.
Like that's a good point. They could sneak a W way easier than I think the Angels can right now.
Totally agree. What about Simeon, Woods, Richardson out in I almost said Miami, in Minnesota? He gets Seattle and at Toronto. He's been putting up a great ERA through 3 starts, 245, but it comes with a 136 WHIP. So you talk about how an ERA and WHIP don't jive together. this is the case here. Are we confident enough? And I guess the concerning part there with Simeon Woods Richardson is that it's been Detroit and the White Sox twice. So that explains why the ERA has been so good. Better teams probably would have taken advantage of the 16 hits and 4 walks and 14 and 2/3. Are Seattle and Toronto those teams that pop some aggression onto Simeon Woods Richardson?
They definitely could be. He's allowing just an insane amount of contact. And this is why the whip is so high, because the walk rate isn't like bad. I mean, he's got a 6% walk rate. The walk rate's fine. Like, it's exactly what you want him to do. But he's filling up the zone. He's allowing teams to make contact on him. And what happened last game is he just got BABIP to death. So
yeah, he's running a 348 mark. Woods Richardson is. That's pretty high. You think that should regress?
His BABIP the last 2 starts have been 438 and 467.
Oof.
So
do we think he's causing that by living in the zone? Because there is part of it that maybe he's doing by living in the zone, like you're saying.
This is the inverse of what I talk about with hitters, right? Like, I love the guys who are hitters that just make a lot of in-zone contact because it gives them the opportunity to be lucky.
Exactly.
When pitchers allow this level of contact, it gives them the opportunity to get unlucky. Look at Miles Mikolas. Like, Miles Mikolas, yeah, he can be a really effective pitcher, but if balls are finding holes, if the defense isn't great behind you, and I don't think the defense behind Simeon Woods Richardson is, I guess it actually is pretty good. You got Correa, not bad, right? And yeah. So I mean,
you got Julian as second, who's like meh, but Castro at third, I think is a decent defender.
Decent, and Correa is a good defender.
Yeah,
that's short.
So it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. That being said, like, there are going to be like really frustrating moments with a guy like Simeon Woods Richardson, and he's really young. So like that always adds to, there are going to be moments that are really frustrating, right? Like maybe moments where like he looks like he's pitching great. I think in a 15, again, I think it's another one. In a 15, you're probably starting. Yeah. And in a 10 and 12, I don't think I would.
I think 12 he's on the table.
I think
but
only
again,
if
depends who's available.
Would you rather start Simeon Woods Richardson, or would you rather start Tyler Anderson? I think I go Anderson.
I would go Anderson. Yep.
What about Sandoval? I'm going Simeon Woods Richardson there.
I probably am too. God, I love Sandy, but that whip.
You're underscoring. You're starting to feel a little different about him, huh?
That whip, it pounds you, dude. It really, really stings. Little Bailey Ober check-in. This is for shallow leagues. 15s, you're starting him. 12s, I think you're pretty easily starting him too. 4.55 ERA, but a 1.04 whip. Kind of classic Ober right now. We were on the train that the ERA is going to be way down. He's finally going to match, or not finally. He had a 3.43 ERA last year. I don't know what the hell I'm saying, finally. But we thought, full season of great ERA and whip. Still can be. This is 6 starts, and it's not even a crazy home run rate. That's kind of the weird part, because you would expect me to be like, oh, he's got a 1.5 homer 9. That's why his ERA is so high. No, it's really that 8 earned run outing against KC still doing damage. 237 since then. So is it a case of like
3 homer per 9 since then?
Yeah, 1 homer after allowing 3 at KC. So is it just a case of that bad opener is lingering on his ERA, and we should have 0 issues with Ober?
Yeah, he's a must start. Like,
just making sure that I won't even write there.
I won't even write up update. He'll go in that must start here. That is like Bailey Ober is him. He just had that one first bad start that is making so. If
this is why we do game logging, because you got to see this.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you were in a league where someone has Bailey Ober, you may have missed your time to go get him, but go get him. Like he's
if you could, I'd pay full market rate, let alone the fact that I might get a discount, and I'd take any shred of a discount. Because people might see the 4.55 ERA and be like, oh, man, I don't know. No, it's an amazing whip. ERA is amazing since the bad outing. We knew he'd be fine.
24% strikeout rate, 5% walk rate.
Everything's in check.
The homers are in check. Yeah, everything's great.
Figured that's where you would be, but just want to make sure and calm anybody down that was like maybe a little irked by the ERA. I put Luis Gil on here. This is for shallow leagues as well. I think 15s, you're starting him. It's a 3.19 ERA, 119 whip. Not too bad. Walk rate's up there, though, 15%. And so it does put both of those in some danger. If things start to, break against him. He had the one bad start against Milwaukee, gave up 5. Other than that, he's been good, and he bounced back brilliantly with a start in Baltimore. 6 1/3, scoreless with 2 hits, a walk, 5 Ks. I love that for Luis Gil. Houston and at Tampa Bay. Is this a 10-team start? Is he just kind of locked in the lineup right now? Where are you at on Luis Gil 6 starts in?
I mean, the 10-team, you're always gonna just put out your best 9 guys or your best 7 starters, whatever you're doing. And so there gonna be 10-team leagues in which you're not starting Luis Gil, but he's going in the should start tier. Like, I think he is a guy that you should be starting every week. You look at what he's done over these last 3 starts: 2.65 ERA, home run rate pretty much right around 1. A strikeout rate of 29%, or a walk rate around 9%. So a little maybe higher walk rate than you want, but like not super bad. Yeah, the BABIP's a little low. The numbers are probably going to come up, but this is like a mid 3s, maybe even a low 3s ERA pitcher with strikeouts. And the most important thing is we're seeing him go deep enough into the game consistently to get W's. He went 6 1/3 in his last start, 5 before that, 5 2/3 before that. Yankees are good. I don't know how long he'll last because he always has injury issues, but that is a problem for July, August, something like that.
Yep. We don't get too hung up on that right now. Focus on the here and now with Luis Gil. Take the innings while you're getting them. Totally agree with you there. And I'm starting him everywhere. I love him. Just kind of one of those ones where I want to check in, make sure that I'm not just overrating my guy, but we're in lockstep. What about Mitch Keller? 2 home starts, Angels and Cubs. He's been up and down. Are you getting there with him? Are you still riding the Mitch Keller train right now? Because I'm looking for a route off. I don't know. I'm not feeling great. 5.18 ERA, 148 whip. It's been shaky. Is there enough here where you're sticking with Mitch Keller? I think this is one of those, if you're not starting him in a 2-step, you really have to decide if he belongs on the team anymore. What say you of Mitch Keller?
Especially with the Chatless Angels coming to town. Yeah. Both these starts, I believe, are at home, which is a great park to pitch in. Like, this is the Mitch Keller experience, people. Like, this is, and one of the reasons why I don't draft him. Like, I think you're probably continuing to roll with him if he was a guy that you liked preseason, because he's really not doing anything that different than he normally does. It's a 396 xFIP. Strikeout rate is just about a strikeout an inning. Home run rate isn't like super elevated. I think he's just a guy that sometimes when he does not have all of his stuff gets hit around a little bit. But you're going to volume strikeouts. The strikeout rate the last 2 starts were right back to kind of where Mitch Keller levels are. So that drop off in strikeouts we had all of a sudden, like, I'm not super worried about that. He's a volume guy that may hurt your ratios a little bit, but that's what you signed up for. Like,
True.
I don't know, especially in a 15, but even in a 12, like, I don't know where you're going to find the volume of strikeouts you get from Mitch Keller off the wire, unless you're just going to constantly churn. And you can constantly churn, but some of us don't love constantly churning.
No, and that's, there's trepidation with that too. That can be scary. So no, I'm totally with you. I think you really have to be careful here with Mitch Keller. Like, I get it in the deeper leagues, but man, I'm just frustrated. I hear you with the you signed up for it though, right? I talk about that with
Hunter
Green and Nick Lodolo, right? Like, you signed up for this, you got to ride the ride. Now, that's a high end version of this. But Mitch Keller is kind of like the 15-team version where it's like, you got to kind of see where it's going.
I do want to remind people, like, in a 10-team, especially, you don't have to ride the ride. Like, in a
no.
Even
10-team,
even in a 12-team, like, you don't have to ride the ride, but you're probably going to have to churn, and that's up to you to be able to say to yourself. And one of the reasons why, like, I don't love like having to churn constantly.
Same,
And so, one, that's one of the
especially
reasons I play a lot of
saves.
15s. But two, that's why I don't draft guys like Mitch Keller in 10s and 12s, because like I don't want to have to like, oh man, am I dropping this guy this week so I can pick up a different guy? Like I don't want to have to make that decision.
Yep. No, it can be a pain in the ass. And you want to try to mitigate super difficult decisions as much as you can. That's
Yeah.
that's why I was griping about saves. I wish I just had saves. Nope, gotta go fight for him. Miles Mikolas, you mentioned him earlier, not in a terribly positive context. He gets the Mets and at Milwaukee. I mean, he's putting everybody on base. But is there anything here with Mikolas? Can you get there even in a 15? There certainly isn't really anything in the surface numbers. Is there anything below the surface that makes you interested in Mikolas, or is he just a full stay away?
Oh, no, I think he's kind of a full stay away. He just allows so much contact, and for the first time in pretty much his career, um, like he's also like giving up home runs at a rate that we're not used to seeing. And you
Yeah,
added the fact the Cardinals are not the team we thought they
the
were.
support won't be there. Yep.
Uh, so you're telling me a guy who puts too many balls in play, doesn't strike guys out, doesn't have a lot of run support to win games. Yeah, this is a no-go for me. This is NL only territory.
Yeah, this is perfect. His game log right now for Miles Mikolas is a perfect encapsulation of the risk you're dealing with. 3 starts of 2 earned runs, 3 starts of 5 earned runs, and then a baseline quality start, 6 innings, 3 runs at Detroit. Like, you're probably going to get one up, one down here. And is it worth it? No, because usually the down starts erase the modest good starts, right? So if you get a 6 and 3, but then it comes with a 4 2/3 5, it's a bad week unless he at least won the other one. So no, I'm not with it with Mikolas. I just don't think the upside is there. Tyler Alexander's a guy that for the Rays that I have rostered and found some intrigue with, but he was pretty modest this week, and I was hoping for a little bit more. Milwaukee, a good team. We've talked about that, but 4 innings, 3 runs. The problem is he's really limited. He has a 6 and a couple 5s, but he really lives on that line there where he has to be super pitch efficient to get there. And so you're dealing with a lot of potential 4 inning starts. Is White Sox Yankees both at home? Is the White Sox one and the fact that both are at home enough to take on that Yankees start with Tyler Alexander?
No,
Just
like
not doing
just
enough and too
no.
many homers?
Too many homers. Like it just.
Has a lot
Uh,
of homer in his last 3, I will point out. 2 2
yeah,
1 in his first 3 starts and then 3 straight 0s. So
he's still averaging like 50+% fly ball percentage, and now you got
yeah,
the Yankees coming to town. Like, yeah, no thanks. If it was White Sox Rockies at home, like maybe we'd be having a conversation. But like even like the last 2 starts, he's only gone 4 innings, and
that's the
so
scary part.
they're
He
not
might not
letting
even
him
get a
turn
dub.
over, the lineup enough. Where it is the Rays who tend to not want guys to turn over lineup a third time. So
Mm-hmm.
and the Rays are playing like garbage. Like
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
that's the thing too. Where's the
Sorry,
support?
sorry, Jason. I should have said earmuffs, but yeah, they're. He'll say it before I will. Like he's
Correct.
more critical of his team than I am. They're playing like garbage. Like there's no world in which I'm starting Tyler Alexander. AL only.
No, and frankly, he's cuttable if you do have him. Like I said,
Yeah,
I picked him up for the Detroit start and to kind of have as a reserve guy in case he was their next big find. But yeah, I'm moving off of
at
that.
least he didn't murder you for the Detroit
No,
one. Like it wasn't great or anything, but like at least it wasn't like a 4 inning drubbing.
exactly, and that's kind of on the table with Tyler Alexander, especially with that New York start. And that's the one that really scares me. So be careful there with Tyler Alexander. Our last guy is really intriguing because first off, he's one of your faves. It's Andrew Heaney. He's coming off a gem, 7 innings, 1 run against Washington, and you could not get a more disparate 2-step. Trip to Oakland. Yes, I'm in. Oh yeah, don't say anything else. I'm totally in. Okay, but the other one's at Colorado. Ah, shit, that's literally the worst thing possible. Can you get there with your boy Andrew Heaney?
I mean, I wish I wasn't afraid of copyright infringement because right now I'd just be playing like Sarah McLaughlin in the background. Like, Like I have always loved Andrew Heaney.
You
I will
do.
always love Andrew Heaney. But like, while this may seem like, hey, you've got an amazing start and a really scary start, the Oakland one actually, for a guy like Andrew Heaney, isn't an amazing start. Oakland's 6th in the majors in home runs. Someone in the Discord pointed this out, that they are actually like,
Sneaky.
yeah, if you go by WRC plus, Oakland is the 24th team. So,
Okay.
a bottom 6 team. But if you go by home runs, they've got the 6th most home runs. Like, they're tied with Houston right now for home runs. Like,
That's impressive.
so like, what's Andrew Heaney's problem?
Always bombs.
Always home runs. Always home runs. Like, no thanks. I'm and then you got to go to Colorado. No thanks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing this one.
And so don't be lured in by the at Oak.
Yeah, this will be like one of those Matty Davis like bad outings. Like they're gonna be people like, look, he just went 7 and was great, and they're gonna put, oh, it's an Oakland. I know we gotta survive the Colorado one, but Oakland, and like,
when he dominates Oakland, we can live in Colorado. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, Andrew.
I would bet money, because I bet the odds are pretty damn good, that he has a worse start in Oakland than he does in Colorado.
That would be nuts.
I don't know. Like, I don't know
wouldn't
what
be
the
surprised
odds on
though.
that were, but like, yeah, like, is it a Monday or a Tuesday start?
Let's see. The Oakland one is Monday against Alex Wood.
Okay, so we won't be doing the DFS contest for the Sleeper in the Bus, but I will throw a DFS Oakland stack,
just
like,
to
stack some righties.
Yeah.
On like, and just
give me some Brent Rooker.
I mean, I've always loved Andrew Heaney. I'm never going to like fully quit. Actually, I did kind of fully quit the dude, but
I was gonna say you kind of did.
My heart will never fully quit the dude.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't think this is as good of a 2-step, or at least front half of the 2-step, as other people are going to think it is.
That's a great call out there with Oakland, and
the park. Shout out to whoever like said it in the Discord.
That's crazy. I did not realize that. Their park is obviously still nice to pitch in, but they can hit bombs there too. Like, they're not just hitting all these on the road. And like we've been saying, they're just going to be a regular bad team this year. I don't think they're going to be heinous 100+ losses. They're just going to be standard bad.
If you sort by handedness, they've actually hit the 2nd most home runs against left-handed pitching.
Oh, wow. So it's even worse. Yeah. This is just not the right setup for Andrew Heaney, especially with Colorado lurking, because if he can't take care of Oakland, then you're just beyond panicked with the Colorado one lurking. So no, we're not in on that. So it's an interesting week. There's some guys out there for sure, but it's mostly, I wouldn't go crazy with the streams, because I think there's some real danger out there too. I'll be looking for my juicier 1 starts than I would be trying to get in on a lot of the 2-start action. So, all right, Justin. Well, a little bit of a quicker one there. We got through that in under an hour. But what do you got coming up this weekend? Are you and Jason going to talk about those Rays?
I believe we are going to talk on Sunday. I don't have a guest lined up, but maybe I will get one. But we should be able to chat this weekend. And then, just I think I'm going to be watching some T-ball. I'm going on a lamplight tour of the local cemetery tonight.
Okay, that seems pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like spooky stories. Spooky stories. We did something like it's similar back in September, and this is like a different version of it. The last one was really, really cool. There's actually like actors out in the graveyard.
Oh, that's neat.
Like acting out scenes of like local history and stuff like that.
That's really cool. That sounds great.
Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and then watching some T-ball on Saturday and watching baseball. So hopefully a little relaxing weekend, doing some fun things.
That's what I'm looking forward to. I'll actually be out in your neck of the woods next week. Well, not quite. I don't mean to get your hopes up there. Sorry, I'll be in San Diego, but I'll be in California.
Oh, that's not my neck of the woods.
I know. Relative to the country, it is. That's why as soon as I said it, I was like, wait a minute. I'm making him think that I'm going to be closer than I am. But anyway, Justin, we will talk on Monday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Until then, peace.
Take it easy.